The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in. It's time for Common Man. Common Man, Common Man. Charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in. It's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Rhoda, you don't know nothing. Out of hundreds of deals that I've done.
Hundreds.
You know, sometimes when you practice, you'll set up chairs. You know, and you run through chairs just to show zones and stuff. The Viking defense looks like it's chairs. All the defensive backs covering are just atrocious today for the Minnesota Vikings.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing what a sophisticated offensive game plan looks like. You talk about
I can't take this anymore.
game plan looks like.
I'm pulling my ticket.
Game plan looks like.
I'm sick of it, man. I really am.
Game plan looks like.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Game plan looks like.
we got him.
I'm going to make him an offer, Captain.
How about a beer?
We're happy for you.
Just keep battling. And just keep battling and keep battling.
Quack, quack.
You just have to draw your own conclusions, people. I didn't say that, Common. Don't put words in my mouth.
Yeah, Rosie. Lucky.
You say.
I just want to say, you doubted us, but now we're here. He has no chance.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
Wait for it, crescendo. Here it is. Woody Herman and his orchestra, 1974, live in the Dale Carnegie Hall. Why they named a performance place after a pep talk guy, inspirational speaker guy. I'll never know. It's the Grum coming down at 5, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Greetings, good afternoon, and ack-ack-a-dack. And I'll tell you what, it is going to be a jam-packed show today. There are so many topics we need to get to. First of all, March Madness continues. The Minnesota women's Golden Gopher basketball team, they will play top-seeded UCLA on Friday in the Sweet 16. The men's tournament continues on Thursday. The big one, Iowa against Nebraska. Deuces, go Big Red, will be taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Quarterback quandary continues in Minnesota. The Minnesota Twins will be beginning their season. When do they play again, Tennessee? And did the Wild play last night or not?
No, they play tonight versus Tampa Bay.
And did the Wolves play last night?
They did not either.
Okay. Well, then we have previews for both of those teams. And with all of those topics to get to, I'm really not sure where to begin. So why don't we spin the handy dandy, rusty trusty wheel of topics?
Commons Golf.
Well, I didn't even list that as a topic. How did that come up?
What'd you shoot today?
81 and then a 37. I played 27.
Where'd we play?
I played at Oak Marsh today.
Where'd you hit it on one?
Right up the gut.
Second shot?
Chad, a solo with a pull cart, watched me hit it right up the gut. He said, "Are you going to hit it right up the gut?" I said, "What do you think?" And I hit it right up the gut. Second shot, a poor hybrid. Early in the year here, the hybrids just aren't cooperating for some reason.
5-iron might as well be a pitch.
Well, I hit a handful of 5-irons that were pretty good.
Then what? How far from the green were you?
I completely sliced one into the rubbish right on number one.
Then what?
Well, then I flipped it up on the green and 2-putted for a bogey.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, that was okay. And it's like it was just kind of sloppy, and I did not putt better than I wouldn't even say I putted better than 1% of the guys on the Pro Tour. I made one birdie putt today, 1 3-putt, and then just a bunch of lags. Lag it. Missed a few makeables on 9. I hit it into 6-7 feet and missed that. You hit it to 6-7 feet. You have to capitalize. But what I did was after I finished up on 18, Steve said, Steve's okay with me going back to 14 because 18 ends out at 14, right? When you're done with 18, you can go to 14. I played 9 more and shot 2 over 37. So hit the ball much better, started doing the things I used to do that made me good. And, I'm happy. So, and you're happy that I'm happy.
I'm happy that you're happy.
Yeah, I figured you would be. Where are they now? Because the McAfee show is always somewhere live, and it's on right now. Maybe they're just in their...
I think they're just at their normal home base.
Yeah, but that's a brand new home base, isn't it?
No, they've been there for a while.
Oh, that looked like a little bit different, because usually all the lackeys are behind him in some glass booths, but it looks like they changed their set a little bit. We're changing our set here. I'm told that somebody told me, the brick wall behind us?
Yeah.
The fake brick wall. I've heard that's coming down. And
the actual wall or the fake brick wall?
Just the fake brick wall. Another brick in the wall. They're coming
done with
down.
it already?
That's what I was told by someone, and I don't know if that's true or not because that was just a rumor that was going around. And then
Did we just get that put up?
Yes, and then all the red walls around that are coming down as well. So they're going to. I think it's going to be just carpeting, wall to wall, and speaking wall to wall and on the wall carpeting. So I think that's what it's going to be for soundproofing purposes. The Twins start their season, I think, Thursday.
That was Thursday.
It's Thursday. Today's Tuesday. So they'll start on Thursday. They're in Baltimore to take on the Orioles. The first of 162. And I'm going to go out on a limb, Tennessee. I think the Twins are only going to play 162. There's, you know what? This could be the year we're going to win. Twins, remember 1991? We went from worst to first, from 81 to, or from 90 to 91. I suppose they might just play 161 because let's say there's a rain out. Let's say there's a rain out with Cleveland. And both Cleveland and Minnesota are, 20 games out of first place. They're not going to go, we need to make that game up. I think that's what they do in Major League Baseball. I think sometimes a team will just play 161 because it's just not worth getting together. It costs more to fly the plane, do the lodging, bring in all the ticket takers, concessionaires, grounds crew for a game that's going to have about 4,200 people in the stands, right? They just look at the finances of it and you say, well, let's see. We're this much money we have to put out to put the game on, right? To play the game, right? All the aforementioned concessionaires, grounds crew, umpires, lighting. There's a lot of money that goes into putting the game into play. And then if you're only at 4,200 people, there's just like we're losing money. We would be better off not having the game at all. So the Twins might have 161. But to pull that pocket...
Is it bizarre that their season's 162 games, and then they've also been playing spring training games for over a month?
They play like 30.
Well, and basically almost every day.
Yeah, that's like 200
They're getting
games.
up to like 200 games.
That's exactly right. They're up to 200 games. So...
why don't they just practice? Why do they need to play that many games?
Well...
I know the answer. It's money.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
every answer is money.
Yeah, every answer. Here's what some people don't realize. Everything costs money. Can you make it last? The The Polead pocket protectors are at it. Steam columnist Jim Suhan, Fisher, and I love Jim. I really do. I like his work. I think he's as good a columnist as there is. His column today is "Why Watch the Twins in 2026 to See the Future." This almost seems, this seems like it's almost like, I'm going to help out Tom Polead a little bit here. Try to get, maybe I can convince a half a dozen people to go, you know what? It is a terrible team in a terrible city with terrible fans, a terrible stadium. But you know what? It is baseball, and I get to watch Luke Keeschel.
Do you think he's basically written the same column, just copy and pasted and just changed the names over the years? Yeah,
and there was another one, and there was just somebody else in the Fish Wrap wrote kind of basically the same thing, either today or the other day. And, I tend to agree with what Jim's premise is, that what he says in the story is, where's the line? It says, if all you care about is championships, you should choose other entertainment options. If you have the patience to put up with a productive form of losing, this season could be intriguing. And and to a certain extent, when you tear it down to the studs, he's right. It's sort of in the same vein I've talked about before, Tenebys, where you have your different type of fans, right? You have fans that are into it. They live, eat, breathe, drink, sleep it, and they want to win Twins. They want to score. They want to win Twins, watch the baseball soar. They like parades, and they'll take nothing less, or at least a team that has a winning record, and through September they're in the hunt and they can actually make postseason play. Then you got the other extreme where it's, Mr. and Mrs. Suburbia with their 2.5 kids and a dog, and they like to go to the Twins game where they allow the dogs to be in the stadium, because that's why you playing music.
Well, it's break time. We have kind of like set times we like to break.
That doesn't matter. So we'll continue this conversation on the other side of the break. What's the name of this song?
This one is called "In Cold Places."
In Cold Places. It's going to be mighty cold at
the Target Field.
What do I call it? Oh, the goose that laid the golden egg. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue. Oh, but we got Peek at the Purple. Then we'll go to we have so much to get to. I don't even know where to begin. We'll Peek at the Purple next on the Common Man program here on The Fan.
KFAN celebrates our $5,000 teacher winners in iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher. It's powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to nominate a public school teacher making a difference. They could be the next to win $5,000 to make over their classroom. Do it now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. I'm Common East Tennessee. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com for all of your electrical needs. As we know that with spring here, it's time to start planning those home projects. How about adding garage outlets? Thinking about it? They got you covered. Upgrading your electrical panel? They got you covered. Installing an EV charger? They got you covered. Finishing your basement? They can help you with that as well. Affordable Electric, your trusted local electrician for safe, professional work at honest prices. Affordable Electric is... Get your feet out of the water. Shockingly affordable. So, I found this NFL Spin Zone. Spin Zone. I just love Spin Zone. They're literally doing a 3-round mock draft. You know how much we love mock drafts here on the Common Man program. We like it so much we've created what we believe is the pinnacle of mock drafts. We have the Mocking the Mock Draft. We'll do it again this year. It will be on... There's the 3 best days in sports tend to be, number 1, day 3 of the National Football League draft. Second best day, day 2 of the NFL draft. And the third best day is day 1 of the NFL draft. Now, there would be those of you who would say, well, you've got that backwards. But no, those of us that are really into the NFL draft, like myself, Mel Kiper, Meat Sauce, myself, Mel Kiper, and Meat Sauce, we love sifting through the rubble that is rounds. Is it 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 they have on the last day? I think it is.
Oh, they don't go to around 8, but yeah, 7.
All right, 7, right. 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
There are those of us that just love that part. It's sort of like going to... You ever go to a rummage sale or a clearance sale? Speaking of that, you know what? Somebody sent me a picture from Shields. The clearance rack, and there's J.J. McCarthy jerseys. Now, I suppose he could have just brought a J.J. McCarthy jersey over to the clearance rack and slid it in there, right? Just for the bit. I don't know. I just have to, you know how there's fake news going on all the time. So I don't know if it's actually a fact. But I don't think they're flying off the shelves. I wouldn't. I mean, that's the feeling I get. They're right now. Now that could change. We know that.
I know we're 5 months away, but we need to have like our own little clearance rack for selling T-shirts at the fair. All the old ones that we weren't able to sell that are just sitting in storage somewhere, you just sell them for $5-10 on clearance.
Well, but you know how it works, though. Is we kind of save those. So if because this probably happens to you.
Yeah.
A charity will reach out to you and say, "Hey, you got any swag we could use to give away?"
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, we do. And then we go back to, like you
stuff
say,
we couldn't give away.
Right. You go back in there and you find, State Fair T-shirt from, from 2008, and you load that in there. So there's a J.J. McCarthy on the clearance rack, but. And I tried to dive into it. And not only is it impossible to have a mock draft, but I think it's even more difficult to follow what they're trying to do here because it jumps around from 1 to 3, then it goes to 4, and I can't follow. I'm trying to find the Vikings. I can't find the Minnesota Vikings anywhere in this mock draft. So, I think the guy that put together isn't even sure who's going to draft who. But we talk about it all the time, Tenneby. The mock draft, I mean, they're harmless. They're fun, right? For some people. But it's impossible. What do you think is a better chance of happening? Someone predicting every game correctly in the NCAA 64-team tournament, or someone correctly picking all 252 National Football League draft picks? I think it would be harder to do the draft picks. I really do.
Well, yeah, if you did all 7 rounds,
yeah,
yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think even the first round is virtually impossible, right?
Yes. That's what I thought you were going to go with. So I'm like, well, this will actually be a tough question. But when you say all 7 rounds, that's, I wonder. Well, there's so many trades, too.
Well, that's it. Well, that's one trade throws everything off. Yeah. Right? And I'm wondering if with all the draft, and you can just call yourself a draft expert now, right? I guess if you read Mel Kiper's guide, you suddenly become a draft expert. I know everything there is to know. And then you set up your own website or a social channel to try to attract people and clicks to see what you have to say about the draft. I would be willing to venture a guess that from Mel Kiper to all the other experts, and I don't know how many there are out there. There's Kiper and there's Meat Sauce and a bunch of others. I bet nobody's ever nailed the first round start to finish. It just can't be.
No.
And so it's what we like to call.
Even just doing like the top 10, which is would be the easiest to read of all of them, is probably extremely unlikely.
So I think we just call it an exercise in futility is what we would call it. Now we'll have plenty of draft coverage here on the Fan. We kind of blend the local and national once it begins, but who the Vikings select, your guess is as good as mine. The mock drafts that I probably actually give some credence to or credibility is local, whatever city it is, not just Minneapolis, but let's use Vikings. I trust the Seiferts, the Alec Lewises, the Gesslings, the Mark Craigs, because they're at Winter Park all the time. They talk to these guys. Now, I know that they're not getting inside information. I don't think Kevin O'Connell's going, we're taking this guy if he's available. But they still get a fairly good idea because they cover the team closely enough that I think they sort of get a feel of what players the teams might like and and in particular what positions. And every mock draft I looked at, whether it's local or national, seems to suggest the Vikings are going defense. I've not seen one mock draft showing the Vikings with the 17th pick overall, or is it 18th? I think it's
I've seen, I don't know if I'd say mock drafts, but I've seen suggestions of the Vikings. You'd have to trade up to get Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love, who's kind of he's the crown jewel of the running back position this year. Might not slip out of the top 10, but there are people that believe because of the need and how he would fit on this offense that the Vikings could trade up to get him. And they have 9 draft picks. But yeah, other than that, I really haven't seen offensive selections either. Well, and frankly, if you want to do a needs versus wants, like assuming Kyler Murray is the guy at quarterback, they don't really have a lot of needs on offense. Right?
I guess you're right.
Your running back position's fine. Tight end position's fine. You have 2 quality wide receivers. Both tackles are quality. You could say interior offensive line, specifically center, but there's really not a lot of, hey, we desperately need a guy on this offense. Assuming the quarterback position is fixed.
Well, that's it, because I don't know if I think the running backs are okay, but I don't think much more than okay.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But it's also not a good running back draft.
Oh.
There's one guy who's
that's it. Okay.
And then a massive drop off.
Okay.
So anyone else you would get is probably not going to be better, at least early on, than Aaron Jones and Mason.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. And with 9 picks, you got a lot of options. Like you say, you can Save and Boondelay them, bundle and save. If you want, trade to move up, move down, Lakeford influence, and then out. I'm a firm believer in. I know we believe in and I guess all things being equal, best player available is the best way to go. But I'm a big believer in offense and defensive lines, and I would just take offensive linemen every single draft. That's what they do in Philadelphia. Every single year they take offensive linemen, and they've had a pretty good track record there. They've won a couple of big games over the past. Haven't they won a couple in the past few years? Or is 2017 the only one?
Well, the Nick Foles one from...
Right.
Yeah.
It was 2017. Did they win any other?
Yeah, they won one with just 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay. So there's 2 there. And it's because I think the offensive line is strong. Most teams that win the whole thing have look at Seattle's defense, just solid. Offensive line, pretty good. So that's what I would go with, but it's neither here nor there. I do know one thing. Peek at the Purple is now there. It's brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, whatever they may be, affordable-electric.com or 612-331-VOLT. Affordable Electric. Shockingly affordable.
Every game, every moment, 96.7 KFAN Plus brings you the men's college basketball tournament driven by Dave Smith Motors. Coverage continues this Thursday. Tune in on the free iHeartRadio app to catch the insanity.
Couple 13-14 pass Common Man program. Oftentimes tend to be when a team or an organization, sports related, really probably any company, when one of the leaders of that company either leaves on their own volition, they're let go, retire, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it takes a while to finish that, fill that position. Like, for instance, if you were to leave here, we might wait years to find the right person for the job because it has to be somebody special that can sit in that chair. Somebody that knows the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the insides and the outsides of the radio business and the Common Man program. It's hard to find somebody that's able to follow along like that. Minnesota Golden Gophers had 2 hockey vacancies happen within days, right?
Yes.
I mean, women's coach was let go. Is that Brad Frost?
Yes.
He's gone. Day or 2 later, Bobby Motzko is let go. Sure didn't take him long to fill those positions. The other day, I think the women's position got filled with Boom May. They call him Boom.
And boom!
Greg Boom May. Do we know why he's called Boom? Has anybody looked into that? I didn't do the research.
I didn't either. I'm assuming he was maybe like a big, strong hockey player that was physical.
Yeah.
Laid the boom.
Or maybe he was a place kicker that kicked off before games, and he was there for the boom.
Or maybe it was a sarcastic nickname. Maybe he was like one of the weakest players.
That could be.
Yeah, they're making fun of him.
Like we talked yesterday about Rick Pitino as a nickname for Dylan Darling. They call him Bells. Do you know why? I think we know now.
No!
And then I think it was today. Was it?
Today, yes.
Is it? Will Rosen call him Brent Larson or Brett Larson, do you think?
Whatever one he goes with is what I'm going to go with, because he knows what he's talking about.
Much like the Vikings, I think their starting quarterback this year is going to be Kyle Murphy. You missed Murphy. That wasn't last week. That was Thursday when he called him Kyle Murphy.
I got the Kyle multiple times.
It was Kyle Murphy is what he came up with the other day.
Isn't it amazing how close those names are, yet Kyler Murray just sounds way cooler
It does,
than Kyle Murphy?
Yeah, I think it does, yeah. Kyler just, it's kind of cool. Do you think that was just a mistake on the birth certificate? They thought it looked like an R. Yeah, it was an R. It's really not an R. It was a little flourish at the end. His name is Kyle. It's sort of like, who is what? We just talked about it the other day. I played the soundbite on the air. There's some player whose name has been is it for the Twins? His name's been mispronounced forever, and he just let people go with it because it got better. He said in a news conference, I got tired of correcting people, so it's the running back, Etienne.
Etienne?
That's not how you say it. It's Etienne.
Really?
That's how you pronounce his name. I saw this. There's a story. You can look it up. Go back a few days.
Been saying it wrong forever.
Yeah. So he basically said, because he's back with. Didn't he leave and come back to a team? And they go, well, how do you pronounce your name? He goes, well, it's Etienne, but everybody kept saying Etienne. I kept having to try to correct them with it. And I finally just thought it's easier to just go ahead and let them call me whatever they wanted to call me. So
I think that's kind of crazy because, like, if you just told your local beat reporters, and then whenever a play-by-play guy comes in, whatever they say on the air is what everyone's going to go with. Right? That's when you hear the person's name.
Identify yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would think. But
Granlin.
Forever.
Etienne sounds way cooler.
Yeah, it does. But it's Etienne, is what he says.
Etienne?
Etienne.
Etienne.
Etienne, I think, is what I think. Maybe I've got it wrong now too. Now you got me confused. But we could look.
He has a brother. I don't know if his brother's still in the league, but he has a younger brother who's also running back he was playing for the Panthers. So we've been saying his name wrong too.
Yeah, we've been.
Travis and Trevor.
Yeah. Well, I think we have the first names right. Travis and Trevor, or could it be Trevor?
Travas.
It could be Travas and Trevor. Have you taken your iHeartMedia classes that you have to take online?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you listen closely to them?
No, I never do.
Okay, well, they have somebody else narrating them. And I don't think he pre-read it. Because there's like a couple of mispronunciations. And there's a couple where instead of just like going down at the end of a sentence, he just kind of like just stops speaking and you're waiting for him to finish and he doesn't finish. And I played it for Sweatbird.
Is it AI?
No, it might be. It could
AI
be.
voiceover?
No, not
AI
with us.
narrator?
No, we're guaranteed human. You know that. What you know about Brett Larson other than he's a human being, he's a man, and he's a hockey coach?
I know his name is Brett and not Brent.
Yeah. Do you know
Brett and I have texted and talked more than most people
Was
know.
he the St. Cloud Huskies coach?
Yeah, so he was originally an assistant coach at Minnesota Duluth. They won 2 national titles there. He was always kind of thought to be the heir apparent to Scott Sandelin, but Sandelin has not. There was always a thought that Sandelin might leave for the NHL, but Sandelin has stayed there and done a great job there. So when Motzko got the job at the University of Minnesota, because he was at St. Cloud State, Larson took over for Motzko at St. Cloud State. And now Larson's taken over for Motzko at the University of Minnesota. But yeah, I mean, as an assistant, obviously won 2 national titles. He was well thought of, well regarded at St. Cloud State. I know they didn't have a great year this last year, but you know, they won a conference title while he was there. They got to a national championship game while he was there. So he's had some success. He also seems, whether it matters or not, doesn't mean you're a great hockey coach, but he just seems like a good dude.
Yeah, right.
good guy. Like he was, I always have him on the podcast all the time, the hockey podcast that Michelotti and I would do, and he would always willing to come on and was great to talk to.
Well, and everybody's got different coaching styles. I don't know what he's like in the locker room, And I feel like we talked about the kid that had the game-winning shot for St. John's. He hadn't scored all game. He calls the play for him, and I guess the way I understand it, I guess Patino went along with it. Because Patino said he caught, and I'm saying, why does he want to take a shot when he hasn't taken one all game? And then he does it with his right hand, and he's left-handed. They get the game-winning shot, proud of him, blah, blah, blah. But dial it back. We talked about this yesterday. When they talked to him right after the game, when they grabbed the kid when he's standing on the court, and they're celebrating the win. And they said, what did Coach say to you? He goes, well, you're just yelling at me like he always does. And some coaches are yellers and screamers. That's how they motivate. It seems like basketball attracts those more than anything. You get the best was, it couldn't have been a better matchup for the two most demonstrative meltdown coaches was the last game on Sunday of March Madness when you had the UCLA coach, and his name escapes me, but then the
John Wooden is the UCLA coach.
John Wooden.
Yeah.
But who's the guy? The guy for UConn.
Is it Hurley?
Yes. Remember, and I was trying to remember. There was controversy last year because he was in the tunnel. He was caught saying something that he didn't want anybody to hear.
And his comeback was like, that's a sacred area.
Exactly.
Which, no, it's not.
And they even talked about before the game started, they said, this could be just the sideline demeanor of these two coaches. And they were, if you watch the game, I actually was worried that they might have
go to blows.
Well, no. That the veins in their temples would just explode.
Have a heart
they would
attack?
have a stroke or a heart attack or something. Just so amped up, and just everything is wrong. The calls are wrong. Everything is wrong. It's like, do they even enjoy coaching at all? Because it doesn't look like most basketball coaches don't look like they enjoy it. It seems like it's always, but I guess at the end of the day, they do. Maybe that's what they like. Maybe they like being tense and wound up and wired like they're about to explode. But I don't know how they are. Hockey, it seems to be one that I guess we don't, the cameras don't generally go to the hockey coaches in the booth, in the box, on the bench, as often as the cameras go to the coaches in basketball because they're storm running up and outside. It seems like
in basketball they're on the court half the time.
That's exactly right. Yeah. The hockey guys, I don't know. I should tell you.
They're behind a bench, so they're far away from the refs half the time.
So they don't seem to get.
You can only you can only talk to the refs so much.
Yeah, but it's just these two guys. And I remember. I wish I could remember exactly what Hurley said because I think we ripped him. I mean, he's just got, and he's even admitted that, I get a little carried away, He probably, he's an aging basketball coach with an anger issue. I think he needs long-term psychiatric care, but even then there's probably very little hope. Okay, now, now I'm being told, no, it's A-Chain.
I was going to say, I thought Etienne. Yeah, A-Chain's the one where that name's been screwed up multiple times. He's the Dolphins running back.
Right. And that's what somebody said. No comment. It's actually, I know the guy said it was, what did I say he said it was?
Well, see, you said Ashan. Well, you said a ton for Etienne, but if it's Ashan, which would make sense. A-Chain or Ashan is spelled A-C-H-A-N-E. Miami Dolphins running back. And his name has been bandied about in different ways. That's why I was thrown off by Etienne, because I'm like, I've never heard it say any other way than Etienne.
Yeah, I don't know. Just call him the guy with the weird name. But anyway, so I again, I don't, the coach I was hired for the Golden Gopher women's team and for the men's team I've said this so many times, tend to be, you've heard me say it, if you get to the level where you're coaching Division I hockey, Division I football, pro hockey, whatever, you know your X's and O's. I mean, it's not like they're giving it to
especially at the University of Minnesota, too, for hockey.
Yeah. You know the game. You don't get to that level accidentally slipping through the cracks and just, I don't think you can get to that level by knowing a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. Maybe your very first job, your brother coaches, you become an assistant coach. Okay? And then from there you move on. You get your foot in the door in one way, shape, or form. But once you start climbing the ladder and get to the very top, it's not like they're just letting you have the job because they like you. You've got to be pretty good at what you do. But then you got your top coaches from top to bottom in each league too. So and again, it's the way college is. Hockey, I don't think is quite as bad with the nil, right? Is that?
Well, there's just not as much going.
Right.
It's just
because they don't have as much money going into it.
It's not on the level of football and basketball.
Right.
Yeah,
because that's where all the money goes. It's like was it $20.5 million each university gets to spend? Now that's just from the pool of the money the university gets to spend. That's not even nil money. In boost, nil money is something completely different from what I understand. So, in most
for hockey, you're typically going in the transfer portal because you're not getting the opportunity you wanted. Whereas the other sports, you can, football or basketball, you can jump in the transfer portal just because you might be able to make more money elsewhere.
Right.
Hockey, it's typically a guy who's playing fourth line and he wants to go to a different place where he has an opportunity to play.
Now, I don't know if this is true, but I'm going with it. It says the gist of the Hurley rant was something like he could ruin a reporter's life and get them fired. He didn't say that, did he? I wished I remembered. I wonder if do you think AI is smart enough to remember? What did Hurley say in last year's NCAA tournament? Following UConn's 2025 NCAA tournament loss to Florida, Dan Hurley was recorded in an expletive-filled rant telling Baylor players, I hope they don't bleep you like they bleeped us. That's what it was. It wasn't ruining the life. Regarding officiating, he later expressed deep regret for his embarrassing outburst, acknowledging it was unprofessional and blaming himself for the incident. But I believe at first you were right. He was doing there shouldn't be cameras here. There shouldn't be anybody reporting. Yeah, he was complaining about the officiating. He was telling the Baylor players, I hope they don't screw you like they screwed us, is basically what he said. Isn't it funny that the official is always trying?
Now I'm getting tweets that it was ETN that you're talking about.
It was ETN.
Not A-Chain.
Yeah. It was ETN. And how did he say? I know he said that it was.
Here, I can play the video for it.
Here it is.
Travis A-Chan. So it'd be like A-C-H-A-N-E. And that's how you always said Travis A-Chan. But when I went to college, I kept telling them my name like every day. And like after like 4 weeks, they just couldn't get it. So I'm like, man, it's ETN. Like, is how you see it is how you say it. So that's how that became. And it kind of took off because it was easy for the pronouncers to say it. I didn't have to just tell them. I didn't have to correct them every day to say my name. And just when I kind of just started learning more about my last name and how it came about and things like that, it just kind of stuck. It made sense. But I'm very much open to being Travis A-Chan again, just being myself. I don't have to correct people here on how to say my name each and every day, and I kind of love that, and that's just get back to me.
So it's A-Chain.
Which is bizarre because it looks nothing like it.
No, but that's what he says it is.
Yeah.
He says it's A-Chain. Well, your name looks like Brandon, yet it's Blandon, and I've never understood that. Maybe that was just a spelling on your birth certificate as well. So, coaching changes. We've had a lot of them at the U. Basketball coach on the women's side 3 years ago, right? Is this Plitzowite's third year, I believe. Ben Johnson got fired after last season, and now the two hockey coaches are both let go. And the one guy that just keeps coaching and just keeps getting salary increases is the football coach. And
on the women's side, Frost had been there a long time.
Yeah, almost 20 years, right? But
in Motzko, I don't know how much of it was a firing, how much of it was mutual. Obviously, he was in a spot where he had to get a contract extension, and it's hard to give him one after the year. But Motzko might have just, there were rumors about him retiring years ago. Remember his son died tragically, and I think he had obviously a very tough time after that.
Sure.
And don't know if he was ever fully invested again. I'm not sure. But
there was, who was it? Rosen's, I think it was, told me that Motzko was thinking he wanted to coach one more year through age 65 and then retire, I think, is what it was. But I guess they decided that was somebody reported that or said that's what they thought. It was Nanny. Somebody told me Nanny said with Barrero that he thought he might coach another year because Motzko would like to get one more year to get to 65. And I think the U just decided, well, then it's almost like it's
a tough spot to put the U in.
Right.
We're going to give you a 1-year extension, and then everyone knows you're not going to be here. Right. So it's from a recruiting standpoint.
Exactly. So that's why and again, all due respect to Bob Motzko, and you're right about the tragic situation, losing a son in that accident. But it's like, no, we got to make a change, because, like you say, for the recruiting part, how many times do you see that's been the biggest problem about coaching? Players shouldn't be able to jump into the transfer portal and play right away. For a while, you have to wait a year. Now you can go. It's a Wild West out there, and the comeback was always, well, why do coaches get to do it? Coach can recruit a bunch of kids, say, yeah, I can't wait till you get here. It's all for one and one for all, and all of a sudden, we've already seen some coaching changes. Anytime some coach gets to the NCAA tournament in a smaller school, right? Especially if he gets a win. Well, guess what? Next thing you know, he's getting a job at a Power 5 school, a Power Conference, a Power 4, Power 5, whatever they call it. That's just how it works in the coaching profession. So that's why in the players of, that for me, and I agreed with that. It's like, well, if they get to go, because it's almost like, as Barrero would say, it's like it depends upon whose ox is being gored, right? If coach gets to bounce around and then he leaves kids, in the lurch, because let's say Tennessee, you recruited me as for sack racing at the University of Minnesota track and field team, right? Well, all of a sudden you get a chance to go to the school you started at, St. Thomas, right, where you went to college. You take the St. Thomas job. Now I'm left holding the bag, literally and figuratively. The next coach that comes in goes, I don't know why they recruited you. I don't think you're any good.
I'm going to bring in guys that I like.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it's like, well, for instance, I can't recall the. I think it's the Iowa coach. Just got the job. This is his first year on the job. He's got the team in the Sweet 16. He was at Drake. He brought 4 of his guys from Drake along with him. It was like a package deal. And same thing that happened here when Medved took the job. There's at least one, if not 2, but one for sure, kid that came from where he was, that followed him from CSU. So, so if you have a coach that's recruited you, he leaves, new coach comes in, brings his buddies from his school, and all of a sudden you go, well, wait a minute, what about the decision I made? I thought I was all in here. I was going to get a chance to start. I was going to get a chance to develop my game, and all of a sudden, not anymore. Your coach left. I'm the new coach here, and you got an okay game, but you're just not my plans. You don't fit my style, right? You just don't. I play a half-court game. The last coach liked to run it up and down the floor. You're running up and down the floor. You're not a half-court guy. They've talked about it with Kyle Murphy. Kyle Murphy is a guy that plays strictly out of the shotgun, right? Moves around a lot. He's not ever played in an offense like Kevin O'Connell's. There seems to be a difference in how you run your offenses. And so can Kyle Murphy adapt to that? Or does the coach have to adapt to the strengths of Kyle Murphy? And I think it's easier for a coach to change things up than it is for a player, right? Or maybe you disagree. What do you think? Or is it maybe no difference?
I feel like some of these coaches have a hard time changing. Yeah. I think the best coaches can adapt and evolve around what their best player skill set is. But I'm curious. I know technically KOC had to work with Josh Dobbs there for a couple game stretch where Dobbs clearly did not have the same skill set that his other quarterbacks had, and at least for a game and a half had success with it. But I am very curious to see how the KOC Kyle Murphy marriage is going to work.
Yeah. Well, I showed it to Deuce. He had not heard this before over the weekend. Because we were watching basketball. And I gave him the Bum Phillips quote about his'n and your'n. He goes, what do you mean? I go, Bum Phillips was talking about coach one time. He said, he's the kind of coach that can take his team and beat your team. And he can also take your team and beat his team. That's how good of a coach he is. It doesn't matter. I guess that's what I'm kind of saying. As a coach, you're right. I think a lot of coaches have trouble changing up. But if you've got a player that, like, let's say, if you get Wembanyama, you're going to build your team about what's his strengths, right? That's just the way it is. And so I would think.
I feel like for the longest time, there's so many coaches that wouldn't draft a Lamar Jackson type player because they wouldn't even know how to create an offense for that.
Right. Don't know how to do the old RPO or whatever. Anyway, let's take a break. We'll come back. 5:34 at the top of the hour. You got a tease, please?
The greatest of all time is back tonight.